everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress, a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games, and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today. And with me, per usual, are two of your other hosts. We got Brian, also known as the Beard, and New Reliable, and the Spider-Man villain, Mr. Negative, on a Dragon Ball Z Redemption arc. And with us, back from wherever he was on the globe, is Devin, also known as the Brains. And
Ciao,
Mr.
ciao,
Nowhere.
ciao. Ciao, everybody. It's the only way to know.
It's me. It's Ezio. I'm from Italy. Ezio. An assassin. I don't know.
I think this is offensive.
Yeah, it's 100%. I'm sorry. I apologize to the community.
Speaking of offensive, Devin, have you seen Blue Beetle yet? All right, also known as Devin, the man who does not like brown people. Let's continue with the show.
Hey, I saw it. It is available now to rent, so I'll just wait till it's free.
Jesus fuck. So you don't want to give any money to this movie at all. Thanks, Devin.
I do not pay brown people in my life.
Okay, I'll wait till it's like $3 to rent. How about that?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I can do that.
How you guys doing, though? Yeah, Devin, welcome back. We've missed you, bud.
Yes. No, it's great to be back. Actually, it's not. Italy is empirically better in every single way, but
I can't even be mad at that
nice.
sentence. It makes sense.
Yeah. Empirically. No, but yeah, I walked around and ate nothing but pasta and pizza and bread for about 8-9 days, and I came back 10 pounds lighter. So
you gotta be honestly, how was the food comparatively? Was it just next level Italian food?
Yeah, without question. You could definitely get sub tier American Olive Garden if you.
I was literally gonna say, where was the closest Olive Garden, and did one exist?
in Milan, there are a lot of places that do aperitivo, which is where you just get some kind of snacks and drinks. But if you got food from them, which we messed up once or twice, and we did that, then it's not very special. But if you go to the authentic places for pizza and pasta, there's no comparison with anything in America.
Nice. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the land of this food.
Land of cheeseburgers and food that gives you cancer.
Yeah. And our bread too. Our bread, even our bread is just we got to put some preservative in that. So
everyone always makes fun of how sweet our bread is, which I find funny.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's why is your bread like cake? And it's I don't fucking know.
Because we're fat.
Sorry, what now? Cake.
Alrighty then. With that, guys, we got a big week coming up. So should we just head into it? Our first segment of the week.
Let's do it.
News talk.
First piece of news, and I say this with hesitational glee, in the sense that THR reported that Gargoyles, the animated show that I adore and love, is getting a live-action reboot as a live-action series.
Boo!
Very excited, but the live-action part terrifies me.
You lost me at live-action. That 100%.
Nope.
That scares the utter shit out of me.
Live-action means you're going to take all heart and soul out of this property. That's all that means.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm with DeSantis. Disney needs to be stopped. They have too much money.
Oh, no. Don't clip that
out. I'm just kidding. I'm definitely not with him. But still, this is a terrible idea. Please don't do this.
I mean, yeah, look, the Gargoyles fan of me is very excited just to see that world again, but I definitely thought they would reboot it as just a cartoon again. And so this is with Disney and the volume and their effects not being super great as late, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't make me feel great about this idea.
That's a weird property to grab onto. Just what I'm thinking. It's Gargoyles, yes, a lot of people like Gargoyles, but I just feel in this day and age in 2023, I don't know if they have a foot to stand on as far as
Man, Devin, Brian, they rebooted Willow, dude.
Yeah, and we saw how that went. They deleted it completely off the internet, so you can't even watch it.
They literally deleted it.
So, I feel Gargoyles is a little too niche. You know what I mean? It's Street Sharks level at this point, where it's
did we love it?
Yeah,
that
8 people
much?
will watch it.
Honestly, I think I mostly just love the theme song.
Oh yeah.
But see, when we were young, it would have been I don't know, definitely not in my top 5 favorite shows when I did.
Oh, it was for me. It was up there with Power Rangers. I love me some Gargoyles.
Skipped Gargoyles religiously. I hated when that show came on. I don't know why, but I just did not like that show.
No, that's fair. My question is are they gonna bring Keith David back to do the voice?
They gotta,
bro. They gotta do that.
If that man came to fucking Halo Worlds, he has to go and do that. You know what I mean? This man will do anything.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it's being written So Gary Doberman, he's going to be writer, producer, and showrunner. He did stuff like The Nun, but also the co-writer on It. The Nun I'm not crazy about, but co-writing on It a little more positive. I don't know.
That's like the last thing I would have guessed for like a children's TV show. Like,
I mean,
Gargoyles gets pretty dark, to be fair.
Is it just going to be the darkest show on Disney? Like, it's just.
I hope so.
That would be cool.
This might slap. He might be onto something here.
Honestly, if they went that route with it, I think that it would be better than just kind of trying to do live action with the original. So I don't know.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch this at least and see how it is, but the live action part scares me, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
it's that good old Netflix.
At a certain point, it just all starts blending together.
That 50-50 of whether or not it'll be good.
If this was Netflix, it's over. It's over. But the Disney Plus, I'm like, granted, it's not much better, but the effects might be slightly better.
I'm 50-50 with Disney too at this point. Like, I don't feel like I'm giving them enough criticism.
Yeah, every show just makes it worse. But yeah, if it was Netflix, they just take the name and just do something completely different.
Mm-hmm. All right, next piece of news. This is a fucking weird one. This is by the Wall Street Journal that a new Grand Theft Auto game might be coming. Not Grand Theft Auto 6, something else. And more oddly, it might be going to be a Netflix game.
They want to make a mobile game, which, I mean, it's surprising.
They're going to do Chinatown Wars again?
It's surprising it's taking them this long to make like I say quote unquote good mobile game, but like a mobile game that actually has some lasting power. Because what we saw previously was not anything. But in a space where like mobile games are really weird to me. I'm sorry, I'm going a little rant here, but it's just like I'm pretty sure Resident Evil 8 is coming out on mobile, which is a crazy thing.
For like full price $60.
Yeah, to play a fucking video game on your fucking phone, which is crazy to me. But then also like a game that I play, Honkai Star Rail, which I haven't played in a while, but it was a game that I did like give pretty like hard accolades to. That is a game that you can play on mobile. Also a game that looks really pretty on PC. So it's like crazy that you can just do those kinds of things. So I'm like, maybe they're cooking here. The mobile genre is probably the highest grossing genre of video game right now.
Probably.
Which is crazy to think of. So they might be onto something. I hate to say it. I'm not going to play it because fucking who cares?
We talked about this before the podcast. I don't even know how to get to Netflix games. So I'm probably not going to play it at all.
Yeah. I mean, this might be like the beginning of them trying to rebrand it. I hope it is because like you said, like we've talked about Netflix games a couple of times. Since we last talked about it, I still haven't even looked to see how to do the things. So,
I don't know what games are on there. I don't know how to get I have no idea.
I pay $50 a month to not even know that exists. So.
And also like I don't understand the benefit to Rockstar Games here to go this route.
That's why I don't understand either, because Rockstar's never been the type of company that like would do something like this, or like they know how good they are, that they've never been the type, like that's why they never go to E3. They're like, we don't need E3.
Right.
We are literal rock stars. We don't give a shit. So going to Netflix games would be interesting, you know?
Maybe Netflix is doing a thing again where they're trying to go hella in the red, so they're spending stupid money. Which I don't know what stupid money is in their space, because we already know Rockstar makes a disgusting amount of money on the same game they've been fucking shilling since 2013.
True.
Rockstar doesn't need Netflix's money.
Yeah, so I don't know really what they're trying to do there. Maybe Rockstar's trying to get into the media space in a different way, the same way that like Activision was trying to, where like we might start seeing, more properties that aren't video games from that company. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Next quick piece of news. We got some new photos for the Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, Avatar, The Last Airbender live action series. We got some more Fire Nation people like Prince Zuko, Fire Lord Ozai, and Commander Zhao and Uncle Iroh. Look, I'll say they got the looks down, in these photos.
The photos look fucking good. They look fucking good. And I hate that they look I was just talking to somebody. I was at a party last night. And I was just talking to somebody randomly about this. And I was like, I hate that it looks good, because there's still, even with the way this all looks, there's still about a 50-50 chance that this is going to be absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. I don't care how much color correction you do on some characters' faces. This still could be dog shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Ozula's also in there. But yeah, like it looks great, but so did the characters of The Witcher. In terms of, if I took pictures of that show, it'd be like, that looks like Geralt. That looks like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, It all depends how the effects and the story go.
Right.
That's the one thing I'm not sure about Netflix. But again, we've seen, I haven't seen it, but I've only heard good things from One Piece.
Yeah.
And it's got a season 2. So like, maybe Netflix is learning a thing or two. I don't
Maybe
know.
they're cooking. Yeah, because we know a lot of those anime to real life things got canceled. Including what's his face?
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop, yeah, that sucked. I watched a couple episodes. That was no. Please watch Real Cowboy Bebop, an amazing anime, terrible TV show. Yeah, I'm very interested to see this for multiple reasons. They do say that season 1's going to be based on book 1, the same way that they kind of did the first season of the anime itself. Anime, I say quote unquote. It's an American-made show, but I think it fits pretty comfortably under the anime, umbrella. So they're saying it's going to be basically that same time period. So that's interesting. That's cool. So hopefully it's going to be more of a Last of Us kind of reimagining, more so than whatever the fuck Death Note the movie was on Netflix. Where we don't know what that was.
Yeah. I mean, and the story is so strong from the original. You have that. If you anchor yourself to that and only tweak a few things, I just feel like if they go way off the story or something, all the fans will reject it. But if you just retell it live action. That's honestly probably the best we can do here.
It might be a thing where, like, I might be just happy that it's better than that movie.
I mean, that's such a low bar that it's like, even if it does suck, it'll probably be better than that movie.
Exactly.
I think that really helps this series.
It does, right?
The fact that movie existed.
It was the Dragon Ball evolution for the Avatar world.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see. Comes out. They haven't set a date, but definitely 2024. I mean, we'll all be watching that day one most likely. So
absolutely.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, Netflix. All right. Moving on to our final piece of news. This is about the Xbox Activision merger that is complete. We talked about it last week, but a couple of little quick things. Phil Spencer on the official Xbox podcast did want to clarify that this is a quote: "Players on PlayStation and in the future on Nintendo, I want you to feel 100% part of the community." This is in reference to Call of Duty remaining multi-platform and multi-console, blah blah blah. Yeah, Phil, you say a lot of shit and then don't do it. I don't know. I don't know how long this one gonna last.
What would be the point of buying it?
I don't know.
They can say stuff like this all the time and then they immediately like take it back like a year later or something like that. So it means nothing.
Exactly. Take this shit with a grain of salt all the time.
Yeah,
everything.
Always.
I personally think that it is so far not in their interest to make Call of Duty an Xbox exclusive that they won't end up doing it. I think Starfield is a good indication of that, where it's like Starfield sales probably would have skyrocketed if it even just came on PS5. Like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but as someone that's a very big Halo fan, I did not play Halo 5 solely because it came on the Xbox One, and there was literally no other reason other than to play Halo to buy an Xbox One.
Did it not come on PC?
It did not come out on PC. It still has not come out on PC.
Shit.
It is not on Master Chief Collection at this point in time. I don't know if they ever will put it out there. So I've never played Halo 5.
Oh, wow. That's
and
weird.
I would never played Halo Infinite for the same reason. If it did not come out on PC, I would not have played that game. And I think they're starting to recognize that like Xbox does just not have console sellers. And even with Call of Duty, I still feel like maybe on like a service level, you might think it's a good idea to do that. But then I feel like in actual practice, you'll be like, damn, we still aren't selling the same level that we were selling when this game came out on other consoles. So I'm hoping they're smart enough to know not to do that.
Yeah.
Especially because like I think in Europe and like Asia, PlayStation is like the main, like I think in Europe, people don't mention Xbox at all. So like, why cut yourself off from all that potential?
Xbox's biggest pull was America, and then Xbox 360 was just kind of lucky in just being a really like heavy hitter as far as like consoles go. And they have not found that same magic since then. And, that's been 10 years now. So they're in a rough place.
Yeah.
And the way the industry's going, I feel like console, like where you're accessing a game from matters less than having the access, right? Because it's very common now. I remember a few years ago, it was like when Fortnite first did cross-platform, it's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And now it's like common. Like you play with people on Rocket League and, Halo, stuff like that. It's everything's cross-platform. So I feel like, maybe the console wars isn't really the way to look at the future of the industry. It's more about controlling the studios and like those guaranteed hits.
And I think they're recognizing that. They're doing something similar to Nintendo in the way, and we've talked about this before, and that I think that they're trying to forge their own space in the market instead of trying to compete. Nintendo exists basically on its own. Like no one really competes with Nintendo because Nintendo does their own thing. I think Xbox is doing the same thing by trying to be so much of like a Netflix service and focusing less on their console that they're kind of making like a space that like no one can ever like fuck with us because we're not that.
Yeah. We're not competing in the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's fine because I think Xbox One was a great way to show that like, yeah, we maybe don't have that magic anymore. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm interested to see where it goes. I know right now Game Pass has to be a loss for them. They have to be just operating on a net negative 100%. But
that's why they're raising them prices.
Yeah, which we don't love that. Even though my PC prices did not get raised, I just got charged yesterday, and I was like, hell yeah, it's still $10. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of Game Pass, this was another piece of this little story of Val. People were wondering like when the Activision stuff will actually be like, when will Microsoft take advantage of it? And people expected that shit to happen day one, like we talked about off the podcast. I don't know why people thought that was going to happen.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
It took,
these things take time.
You know how long it took for Overwatch 2 to end up on Steam? Like that shit took almost a year into the game being out. So like, yeah, we'll see that probably, I don't know, springtime of 2024 at the earliest, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just not mad at it. I just think that's just managing expectations.
Right. Yeah.
My biggest thing is just about like, now that they've owned the company and all the games that have come out, what does Microsoft want to do with Activision Blizzard at this point?
Exactly.
Because I don't think anything's really in active development. I know World of Warcraft's going to have a new expansion coming out. At least going to be announced probably in the next month or so. But outside of that, Activision's not actively working on anything. So
Call of Duty.
Yeah, there's Call of Duty always. But like outside of that, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, okay, now we got you guys. Now what? We got to make our money back. We just spent $70 billion.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And that's the thing that like we talked about as well. Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of assumed like when they bought Bethesda, like look, Starfield didn't come out immediately. They delayed Starfield a year. Also, so it's like it's gonna take some time before you actually feel the effects of this, most likely. But yeah, me and Alex talked about this when we were talking about when it actually closes. Like, how will this change the gaming environment, the atmosphere of it as a whole? And I think we won't really know for 5 years probably.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Probably like new console launch and stuff like that. That's when there really be a heavy hitter. If they will be a heavy hitter.
If is the big question.
That's the scariest part about that. That's like there's a lot of unknowns around what you've just done.
Yeah. But who knows? We'll see. We shall see. All right, guys, that is the news, which means we're all done. It's time to move on to our main topic of the week. Devin, it's just me and you. We had to say goodbye to Brian, but we'll see him again later in the show. But we are trapped in yet another fortress, or should I say a foundation. Devin, this is a Fourtress foundation. Yeah, we're very high sci-fi, very honestly, very pretty good looking show for a fucking TV show. Covering 2 seasons because we are in the Fortress of
Foundation. You can't have a fortress without a foundation. You got to put a lot of rocks and big stones down there.
Exactly.
But yeah, Foundation.
Yes, listeners.
The sci-fi show that you've never heard of. Like that's maybe the most surprising thing about this to me was that like I've heard no buzz about Foundation. I see no commercials for it other than they marketed season 2, but I never saw anything about season 1. I've never heard anybody talk about it. I've never heard anybody watch it. And it's like a really well done show.
Honestly, yeah. Like you were the first person I heard about this show from, and since I haven't heard the show from anyone else. But I'm thankful because no spoilers. I really enjoy this show a lot. It's a solid fucking sci-fi show. I will say, no spoilers yet. I will just say like I can see that it's not for everyone. It's pretty. It can be fairly dense. There's a lot of high sci-fi concepts to get introduced to, and the show kind of expects you to keep up with it at times. It's not gonna quite hold your hand the whole time, and that's one of the things I might like about it the most is because, like, I mean, just being in this like sci-fi fantasy worlds for my entire youth life. I kind of get acclimated to it fairly easily. There are some times where I'm like, wait, what the hell? I was like, oh, okay. And like they do that shit on purpose. But overall, like I really love what they do with this show and the time jumps. Some of them I was like questioning of whether or not I liked it or not. But by the end, I was like, okay, I did really enjoy it because this show will just throw 100 years out the fucking door and not give a shit.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, but sci-fi should have more stuff like that, I think, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people say that Foundation kind of was like a lot of things came from that. Like Dune even came from Foundation.
Dude, there are so many times where I'm like, yo, Dune stole from this shit.
Yeah, they did. And I mean,
that's
crazy.
But
it's Asimov. It's like the OG, guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know how faithful it is to the books but I have heard that the show, I mean, at least, speaking personally, I think they've done a pretty good job, like making something compelling out of it. It's not like,
right.
It's not like a Witcher nightmare where it's like, okay, not only did you not stick to the source material, but you also just made it suck. It's like, okay, I don't know what the original was, but whatever it was, I doubt it was as good as this. If not, maybe it's the same, but like very well done, to make 2 very neat seasons.
Right. I will tell you, there is one major difference that I think will shock you that I'll tell you when we get into spoilers that I did hear. Cause I after watching the show, I wanted to consume so much about it. So I went and back because they do their own official podcast as well for every episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to all of those episodes. And so there was one cool tidbit out of it that I heard that genuinely shocked me, but I'll wait till spoilers till we get there.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, solid show, really good, 2 seasons.
So far.
By the end, I wasn't sure which one I liked more. At first, I think I liked season 1 a little more, but then as season 2 rolled on, I was like, oh shit, okay. I'm really liking the second half of season 2 and the developments they make.
I don't know. I guess I would stick with season 1 only because one of the plots in season 2, I just wasn't really with it for a long time because it felt like you could kind of see the end coming for like the whole, what Gale, Salvor, and gosh, I can't remember.
There was a plot in both seasons that I'm like, I don't really care about this in both of them.
Right. Yeah. Season 1 was just like nonstop. Like I could not put it down when we were first going through it. It's like, man, what is going to happen next? And so it's been a while since I've had a show like that. Like we'll watch like, Ahsoka, a lot of the Disney Plus stuff. Cause it's like, we're, just got to talk about it. But like this show is like genuinely like, man, I don't want to put it down. And it's been a while since I've had a show like that. So yeah, very, very cool. I just don't know why it's completely under the radar. Like nobody talks about
Honestly, it. I think the most reason why is because it's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
I think Apple TV itself goes under the radar.
Yeah, it
except
does.
for fucking Ted Lasso. Other than that, I think people kind of skip out on it and they don't know, which is why I'm kind of glad that that Godzilla Monarch show, I've seen some ads for it. So I'm like, oh, at least they're pushing this and that's an Apple TV thing. So maybe that'll get people seeing more stuff on Apple TV,
Hey, thank goodness for Messi coming to MLS because without him, I probably never would have gotten Apple TV.
That's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Thank you, Messi, for this podcast.
All right. You want to jump into spoilers and get to it, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So listeners, we're going to try our best to stick to season. So we'll start with season 1 and then we'll move on to season 2 in the second half of this main topic. But we'll stick with season 1. Spoilers from here on, though. Check the time codes for all that jazz. I do just real quick have to shout out Bear McCreary for doing the music of the show.
Oh.
That dude just does work. He does everything.
Yeah.
He does everything.
Shoot. The new Howard Shore, the new John Williams.
Yeah. He's just crushing it. I will say, because I obviously I binged this show. So I watched basically all 20 episodes in like a week and a half, I think, something like that. Which was, I think, a pro and a con. Mostly a pro. In terms of I couldn't get enough and I wanted to just watch it, keep going. So that was awesome. And also, I think that also does help in terms of remembering times and everything when you're watching it rather than week to week where it's like, wait, what happened? Who are these people? Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was helpful in that. And then the con, I will say, this is a spoiler for season 2 as well. But by the end of it, I was like, God damn, how many times is Harry going to die and come back to life, bro? What the fuck are we... I've been watching the show for 10 days. This motherfucker's been dead 26 times. What are we doing?
Dude, what if... I was like, man, for a second, when they did it in season 2, I was like, man, what if they did just bring him back just to kill him again?
And they do! They do it! I'm like, what are we... Guys, this is a running joke, right? This is... What are we...
it kind of
What
is
are we
at
doing?
some points.
Holy shit. So that's funny, but it works still. It is what it is, but I was just like, this ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just start at this because I think let's start with I think like starting with the villain. So let's start with Empire.
Oh,
but
so
I will
good.
say this
good.
is what I was telling you. Apparently, and this is what they said in the podcast, the whole cloning thing is not in them books.
Oh wow, it's not at all.
Not at all. From what I'm like, that's like the crux of this whole fucking thing, dog.
Yeah.
Apparently, not.
Wow.
And I was like, what a wild change.
That is crazy because they do so much with that. So much of Dawn, Dusk, and Day's character is about how they're clones and like how they're different versions, even within their own generations. Like they do so much of like, good dialogue, like good, well-written dialogue, but like of them questioning and, what is my purpose? Who am I really? Like that is such a huge part of the show.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that's nuts. But like, again, I don't know how the Foundation heads feel. I don't know I would imagine there are some diehard fans that are like, this isn't the Foundation that I love in those books, but whatever, it is what it is. But no, let's talk about Empire and just,
man,
I shout out to Lee Pace,
Lee
man.
Pace,
that dude
so
is
good.
crushing it.
I mean,
everyone in this show, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like every person here is so well casted, but I think head and shoulders above the rest is Lee Pace. He's just so good at being like a regal dick.
Yeah,
I think they saw Hobbit. They're like Thranduil. Like, it's exactly what we need for
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
he's good, man.
He's good. Like it's all very theatrical. To like his performance is very theater. Like I believe him. Like that he's talking to a crowd of thousands and millions every time he speaks, and it also helps that dude is like 7 feet tall. He's a big dude.
Yeah, but he's very. I mean,
big guy.
He has very good conversations. Like when he has conversations with a cleric or whoever else. Like whenever he's disagreeing with somebody, and like and he's a very well done villain because at some points you're not like pulling for him, but you can understand his frustration. Like later on when Harry's like, "It's not in my plans, bro," and he's like, "Man, I tried to I tried to do what you said."
I think that's one of my favorite parts of the show is that, at least for the first season, that original Day is the biggest asshole of the, and it starts with the little boy Dawn, and then obviously he grows up into Day, and he's better, and it's like, and then so the Day who blew up the two planets, who just fucking airstrike the entire fucking planets. He grows up into Dusk, and he's still just a giant dick as Dusk. I was like, that Dawn was a problem child. But I love the differences of those and how they keep those characteristics throughout them, and the actors have to play so many different characters, but also being the same clone, which is just so well done. And it's just really, unless you really think about it, it's like that's a ridiculous thing to ask. That's really crazy.
I also would like to see a young picture of Lee Pace because I think they're casting for, I don't know his name, but the casting for Dawn, he really does look a lot like him. And I'm sure Dusk does as well. But I mean, they really did a good job of making them look like the same person.
Yeah, so they did a phenomenal job. Yeah. But I mean, as far as Day or Empire or whatever goes, I think they're solid villains in the sense that like it's not like the Star Wars Empire. It's like they're fallible. They fuck up. But I mean, obviously they're still ruthless and terrible and they're clones and all this shit. But it's also like you were saying, like there's the Day at one point it's like, I'm trying. I'm just trying.
And you can see how like it feels kind of like Mass Effect, or like, there's this mobile game I used to play called like Dictator. And you would always have to like be balancing like the people and the police and the military and the oligarchs. And every decision that would come up would be like +1 with the people, -2 with the oligarchs, stuff like that. But you can see him having to like play this like balancing act, like with politics and stuff like that. And, kind of have those conversations about what he has to do. And it's not like, you can kind of, you can feel for them a little bit because it's hard to run it all together, like to, manage this massive empire. But at the same time,
there's a giant gold statue of you 1,000 feet tall in the middle of the city. And it's like, bro, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's also like the thing where it's like, I think it's in the first episode or the second episode, Day just kills that old man who fucks up, who read a book. The first episode, he's like, "Oh, you read a book by Harry Seldon."
Yeah.
And he just atomizes him. It's like, oh, he's not right. So it's like he's still very much a villain, Well,
the one thing that I don't get is like when it just doesn't make sense where they like televise the trial with Harry Seldon of like, you're like a heretic. Dumb. But like, why would you televise that to everybody, not only your home planet, but like everywhere around? Like, of course he's going to have disciples. Like, if you televise that, like, what do you do with a guy like Harry Seldon? You just try to silence him as quick as you can. And like, but I don't know.
Yeah. But I think that goes to like clearly the Cleon, the character of Cleon and all of his clones. They have egos. it's a power trip for
Yeah.
all of them. So
Yep.
it makes sense that he would televise it because he wants to show the world that Harry's wrong and that he is the leader of this world.
True.
And it's
True.
all driven by ego and to a fault. And at least in season 2 and at some points in season 1, to their own downfall, which is what Harry's been telling them the whole time. It's like, if you keep this cloning up, that you're all fucked.
Right.
Which let's talk about Harry then. I guess the next big person of this whole entire fucking crux. I will not lie, the whole first season, at least when the first starts, I was like, is Harry telling the truth? There's a part of me that was like, I bet you he making all this shit up just cuz.
No, he always, and it kind of, I mean, you learn later like why
he kind of
has
is,
a vendetta. But like,
yeah,
especially at the very end of season 1, he's like, well, gotcha. Like oh no, it's just a war with Empire.
It's all a lie.
Like, yeah,
it's all a fucking lie.
But it's not, because like he does predict things, but
it's exactly.
But again, he on the same kind of, he also has an ego, and
Absolutely.
So Gale Dornick is kind of caught between the egos of these two big power players in the thing. But yeah, I mean, I think, but he's, again, does a really good job. I've always liked this actor. I don't think I actually know his name, but
Jared Harris.
Jared Harris, there you go. But yeah, he does a really, really good job.
Yeah,
you never really know what he's doing next, and I'm not surprised. Like the version of him that's in the vault, he always is like 5 steps ahead of whatever's happening.
Well, he's a computer at that point,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's absolutely, you hit the nail on the head, where it's just, there are times at this where I'm like, oh, it's just ego versus ego in terms of Harry versus Empire, and neither one of them willing to back down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only detraction, I think, is like the events of season 1 and 2 are basically, he's saying, oh, it's inevitable that Empire is going to fall apart, and like, I'm just trying to soften the fall, right? But then you're literally, the actions that you do are causing the destabilization of the Empire. So it's like,
it's the whole trope of like, if you found out your future, you would still end up at that point, even if you tried to prevent it, because it was actually those actions of you preventing it actually made it come true, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the same fucking concept almost.
Right. It's like, I don't know. It's like when Hannibal, attacked Rome. It's like, listen, this was going to happen anyway, but I'm also the one attacking you, but
he's trying to justify
don't worry about
it.
that. Yeah. Like, I'm just, this is just a natural process,
And especially when it got to the point where in season 1, when I kind of got an inkling that Harry, like, he didn't plan to be on the ship the whole time and make it to Terminus. And it's like, in order for this to work, it needs more than a man. It needs a messiah. I was like, oh, this man wants to be a god.
Yeah.
And it's like, he does, but at the same time, he is trying to protect the world and save the world. But it is a weird power trip from him as well, I think he loves the idea that he will be this all-knowing messiah to these people, and he basically starts a new religion, and he knows that's coming. He knows that's how humanity evolves through time, is that eventually it will become like a weird religious cult, but then people will learn, and he's got plans on plans for this shit.
Right. I mean, you see it in season 2, 100 years later, like there's like missionaries that go around trying to preach the religion of science, which is what I guess it is. Kind of interesting, but yeah, he definitely knows. And he's also inconsistent. I don't think, did they ever explain in season 2 why he just like chose to like incinerate the warden of the Foundation?
His reasoning was that the warden, if he didn't do that warden would have become too power hungry and would have fucked everything up.
I didn't get that vibe at all from that guy, but okay.
Honestly, I think Harris was like, just fuck it.
I know, but it's weird. He's a little inconsistent with things like that.
But again, I think it goes to the thing where it's like, he's like, I don't know exact events and things. I can only predict like big things.
Right.
I don't know if this person, blah, 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 blah. Again, it goes to the thing. We're kind of in season 2 a little bit. The reason he knew about Hobart Mallow is because there's the twist of Gale and Salva are actually in the past, and they tell him.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he knows that name.
Exactly.
Otherwise, that never would have fucking happened. So it's very interesting.
Exactly.
Well, we can hop back and forth to these characters, but we got to talk about, probably honestly, my favorite character by the end of season 2, and the one I find the most interesting. And give this person an Emmy at this point, because they're just crushing it as much as Lee Pace is. Laura Byrne, who plays Demerzel, is fucking amazing.
Yeah, season 2 was big for her.
Wild fucking shit.
Yeah, that was a crazy twist.
I mean, just like even with season 1, it's like, well, for one thing, I'm like, how do people not know that this lady's a robot? She's been around for thousands of years.
I mean, I don't know that they ever really explained it, but I thought that, I guess the way I thought maybe the way they explained it was that, oh, she gets cloned with them.
She's also a clone. Yeah,
I think so. But yeah,
I think so too. But it was weird. Like, at least in the first episodes, I was like, why are people like not questioning that she's the same person?
right.
But I was like, oh,
right.
okay, I guess that's a way to explain it.
Yeah, but it's not his wife. It's like his assistant. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of moral issues with the cloning stuff. It creates a lot of moral problems.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing. You just made me think of just like the comparisons between Harry and Empire. They're both, at least by the end of season 2, with the amount of times that Harry has died and come back in a different way, they're both playing with immortality. I'm like, Harry, you are preaching. You're doing the same thing you've been preaching and telling Empire to stop, and you are doing the exact same fucking thing.
Has like just an inherent contradiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I find that absolutely fascinating. And it's like obviously in the show, but I'm very curious as to how far they're going to take that.
Exactly. And I hope they do call him out on it at some point. Because I mean, to be fair, Empire kind of confronts him about it when they talk.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, how is that fair? Like, you're condemning me for all these things that you yourself are doing.
Exactly.
So,
and Harry's reasoning is just like, oh, I got the plan. I know this.
I got the plan. I got the plan. I'm trying to.
So you can see why Empire would be like, well, how do I know that my plan's not going to work?
Right.
So it's like, exactly. It's just, I love just the dynamics of that this show has with these characters. I think it does them very, very well.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. But yeah, continues that down on Demerzel. Like that was just, I mean, and like, here's the thing, like, season 2, you find out that she has like an inhibitor chip put in her by the original Cleon, which like, man, that was such a dick move by him. Like,
so
you can kind of get down with him, that original one, but then like he did that to her before she even had a chance to choose. Now, to be fair, she should have just sliced his head off immediately.
And she says that, and she says it. She's like, and there was a brief moment right there where I could have just chopped his fucking head off. And she hesitated.
She
hesitated for the second because she thought that he loved her and she maybe loved him. And now, like Cleon says, when he asks her, will you love me? And she says yes. And he's like, I wish I asked you that before I put the chip in.
Man, she's been in there for 1,000 years, just like sliced apart. And you think like, 20 years of talking to you is going to do something? Like, come on, bro, you're a clown.
Yeah.
But it's so heartbreaking though, because like, she doesn't want to do what she's doing, but she's compelled to help him, even though she wants to be free more than anything else. I mean, man, it's just so tragic. Like her character is just so tragic.
I mean, honestly, like as much as like the show by the end is kind of painting her as like she is the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Let her win. They slaughtered the rest of her people and fucking imprisoned her for hundreds and thousands of years. Like, let her win. It's fine.
Similar to Dune, I want to know how the hell the humans beat these things, because like
robots?
she can eat a lot of bullets, and she's also very smart and like very resourceful. She can rejuvenate, overnight. So it's like, how did the humans beat them? Maybe it's like a situation where there's a lot more humans and not a lot of robots. Maybe it's something like that. But I mean, good Lord, I do not want to fight them in a war.
But I do like how, because I didn't know, I did wonder this in the show, and then the podcast helped me out that towards the end, Isaac Asimov, the author of all this stuff, did kind of try to make connections between iRobot and Foundation, which I thought was cool. And so I like the ties that the show throws in there. Like they mentioned Earth, obviously. They mentioned straight out, say Earth. And then they also mentioned, I think Demerzel, in that episode, I think when she's talking to baby Dawn and telling him stories, she mentions the three laws of robotics.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's dope as hell.
Yeah, that is really cool that he put that in his own work, but also, just shoot that forward and see where that takes you in the very far distant future.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like her story is heartbreaking, and it's also like, this is where I had a question, because obviously she can't harm Empire, but she could kill Empire to protect Empire. Like she kills Dawn in season 2, and like, and so it's like, it's a weird loophole that she can do, but it's just like, oh yeah,
that was wild. Yeah, season 1, the end of that was crazy.
Or season 1, yeah. Nuts, absolute nuts. Like, ugh. And then the few times we do see her robotic face, it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. And then she's also religious, which I thought was cool. I thought that was so cool.
Mhm.
Like how they added that
Yeah.
detail where she believed in like this triple headed goddess kind of thing, and
Yeah,
she was a
yeah.
devout follower. It would be funny her doing the pilgrimage though, because it's like I'm a robot. So
Well, also, I mean, apparently, like she did. That's the whole thing. She says she did it in the show because she had a vision,
yeah.
and so it's like
Oh,
Demerzel as a robot has more of a soul. We haven't talked about it. Has
man.
more of a soul than Day the clone.
Oh my god, that had to be
That's
such
crazy.
a bummer. That was chilling. Like when the way they did that scene was so good.
Well, it's the big fake out because they shoot it
Mhm.
and it looks like he's seeing this
Yep,
shit, and
yep,
then at the
yep.
end he's like, you find out he basically just stole her vision. He stole what she saw
Yeah.
and faked it, and it's like, damn, these clones don't have a soul apparently.
Oh my god. And she knew too, because she called him out. It's like, man, it just would really suck
Mhm.
if I didn't have a vision, But I
Yeah, I
can't
know.
imagine that. Could never be me. But don't really know how
Right.
it worked out for you.
Lots of passive aggressiveness from Demerzel to Empire.
Oh man. If she ever gets that chip out of her back, could she not tell somebody? Could somebody not figure out somehow that she has it back there?
Again, it might be a thing where she can't because that would go against
Probably not, yeah.
that would be in
Yeah.
turn harming Empire in some way in her robot brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
My biggest issue
True.
with that in season 2 is like, wait, you're telling me that no one touched these paintings with their hands ever?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? It was just you just had to touch the wall and a door open?
Yeah, for 1,000 years.
For 1,000 years, no one just rubbed their, because that's all I would do. Watching those weird paintings move all the time, all I would do is just touch them all day.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool, like little facet of the show there. But yeah, that was just very convenient how, it's just
Yeah.
a secret hallway that nobody's been at. Also a pretty heartbreaking scene when like that Dusk, forgives her and is like, well, we're fucked. So
Yep.
I'll give you a hug and you'll probably death hug me back.
Yeah, right. He gets himself and that other woman
Man,
killed.
she didn't deserve that, man. She was trying to do the right thing. I felt bad for her because she was just,
That was rough.
yeah, that was pretty bad.
Let's talk about Dawn.
Mhm.
Because I'm not gonna lie, when season 2 started, I was like, are they really gonna give Dawn the same fucking story of him
The same
falling in
plot.
love and that?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Why is this always happening to this dude?
He just wants to get out, man. He just wants some love and to get out of there.
But they changed it up, and I did appreciate that. Yeah. But
Mhm.
season 1, Dawn with him seeing what's her name, Azura the gardener, and like falling, quote unquote, falling in love with her.
Oh my!
I really adored that. I was like, I'm all on board. But as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, this chick's dead.
Yeah, she's
gonna
a
die.
plant. I thought she
She's
was
so
a plant the whole time. I was like, there's like it's too pure.
No clue. When it got to that point where it's like, oh, she is not only is she was using him, but she was using him against Empire. Like the whole plot that they had their own clone and they were gonna throw him in there. I was like, holy shit! That completely caught me off guard.
Yeah. I mean, I thought she was. I didn't know that to that extent, but I definitely guessed like she's part of some rebel group or something that's just going to try to kill him or something.
No clue.
But yeah, I mean, and like I don't think they've defined yet who that group was, and we still don't know who blew up the original toward the space elevator. We don't know who did that yet.
Yeah, I guess the show's telling us the truth. We saw the two people do it, and one of them looked to be an Acrean, and one of them looked to be Thespin. But we don't know who.
But that was definitely part of a bigger conspiracy for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Honestly, I would not be surprised if fucking Harry did it.
But like that, yeah. I mean, I guess because I guess it could be him. But I think, yeah, we don't know this other rebel group that had we don't know who's behind them. We don't know that the space elevator. We also don't know Calais. Like so I don't know. There's a deeper plot that's going on.
Yeah.
And they might not ever answer some of these questions. But
no, and it could be. It could have been mere coincidence, like Harry said. Like this was going to happen at some point. It just happened to happen now. But I wouldn't be surprised, just like from especially what my reactions to Harry in season 1. I was like, this is a dude. Because the whole time I thought, is this show just going to be about Harry making these events happen to prove he's right, rather than them actually happening? I thought he was lying the whole time from the beginning to show that he was
to validate
correct,
his own math.
Yeah. But so I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. It might, like you said, it might be a thing where they just never tell us.
Yeah, I think they will though, because they've introduced a few things where they need to. It's you can see there's part of a larger thing going on in the background, and maybe it is just Harry's OG Harry's plan, but like the reincarnated Harry doesn't even know what's going on now. Like he's
Yeah.
lost the plot, and now
Yeah.
the Vault Harry's kind of behind now too. So it's like he's
Yeah.
the Vault Harry's still following a plan, but like the
Right.
reincarnated Harry,
But
was
he
like,
doesn't know the whole plan.
and he was just like at the end of season 2, he's like, well, I'll just hang out. And Gail's like,
Yeah.
no, I need your fucking help, dude. He's like, well, no. He's like, I'll just I guess I'll just hang out and die. And she's
Yeah.
like, no, can you maybe help me out? And he's like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll do that.
I did love Vault Harry when Vault Harry found out, because he makes the whole metaphor of how, it makes sense when Salvador goes to see him and tells him about Hober Mallow and how she's like, I'm literally talking to you in the other room, whatever. And he's like, oh, so I guess that makes sense that there would be 2 foundations, blah, blah, blah. You would have the right hand that would be in the background doing all the shit, and the left hand is the distraction. And Vault Harry's like, oh, fuck, I'm the left hand. I don't know anything else. I did enjoy that. Like, Harry is literally keeping secrets from himself. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Which makes sense. I mean, double the chance of success, I guess. But
yeah, it makes absolute sense. But it's just so funny.
Yeah.
He can't even trust himself with the full plan.
Right, right. But see, now I don't even think he knows the whole plan. Because that whole thing on the planet in season 2 where, he goes into that big statue and he talks to like the Calais, who's like the math person that that Gail solved her thing.
Bro, what happened in there?
They haven't told us.
How does he get a body? What the hell happened?
So there's something else going on that's even bigger. I think that's even bigger than the Foundation, to be honest. Or maybe it's just part of his. Maybe like he's psychohistory is part Calais' work, or
maybe,
who knows? But they introduced that whole thing, and we're like, and we'll be back to this later. Like, maybe we'll get some resolution in that, like season 4 or something like that.
I know my mind was blown when you find out the whole plot of the show has been a lie, and the Foundation isn't meant to make an encyclopedia. It's literally just to build a rebel alliance to take down Empire.
Yeah, build weapons.
I'm like, holy shit, that was nuts.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
It was kind of disappointing too, honestly, in season 1, because he's like, well, I did tell you this, but you know what? Sometimes a war is just a war. Like, like that was basically his take at the end. And they were all kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess we can do that.
Right. Because I did like the idea that he was doing this to prevent the Dark Ages from lasting tens of thousands of years to only 1,000 years.
Right.
And so it was, like I was slightly disappointed, like you said as well. But I think season 2 just like rocked it for me enough that I was like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Oh man, but like I just couldn't believe like towards the end of season 2, like when they just literally blow up the planet, like that was
nuts.
Insane. Never
Fucking
saw anything
nuts.
like that before in a show.
Day loves blowing up a planet.
Oh my god, he's such a dick.
He loves it.
Such a dick. He loves like dramatically, like finishing off fights like that. But like,
just I love the hand motion. I love it every time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh god, and like the emotional weight of like the Captain Rios and his partner,
his husband.
Oh, that was so tough. Like, and like they're just like, again, no privacy in Foundation. They're just like live broadcasting this guy's heartbreaking ass audio to the whole ship. And and Day is sitting there like, listen, you have them well beaten. I mean, we could take 20 minutes to get a shuttle and get that man. Like, do we have to do
fuck the planet.
Like right now? Do we have to do it right now? Oh god, it was so heartbreaking, dude. Like, oh.
And this is where I'm conflicted in the sense that when it's revealed that literally no one died, everyone is 1,000% fine. I was like, I love this, but also hate the fact that it takes all that consequence away.
It does, yeah. And I'm wondering too, like, did he save like the Imperial fleet too? Because he saved the guy, or it was just everybody on the planet? Because it looked like a lot more.
I think it was just everyone on the planet.
Okay, because it looked like a lot more people than just the ships, or just the planet.
I think everyone in space is dead. So like Hober Mallow and Homeboy are both dead. I think all of those people are dead.
Yeah.
I think literally the only person that survived in space was a Constant when they dipped her out.
Yeah, she'll be floating for a while.
I mean, people are used to floating for hundreds of years.
Or wait, did she get picked up by somebody already? I thought her oxygen was going low.
Yeah, I think the Vault finds her.
Oh, that's right, the Vault. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my question from season 1 to season 2. I was very confused because I thought like 100+ years passed.
Yeah.
How the hell is Polly alive?
No idea. Like, I think
is he 108 years old?
Yeah. I think they kind of explain it with like drugs because he was like
I was like, did I miss something? I was like, because he was like a 14-year-old when we saw him.
Yeah,
It makes no
they
sense,
don't
but I don't know.
explain that. But maybe people's lifespans are like longer too. Like I don't know.
Maybe, but also Gale, her whole planet was dead when she got back.
Yeah,
Granted, I
true.
guess
Ugh.
that planet was flooded and they
Yeah,
all
they were
died, so
flooding.
never mind.
They were they didn't like the science explanations. They're just like, no, we just religion.
Religious. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll stop.
There's a lot of elements in this show where I was like, this show's just about trying to convince people of climate change.
Yeah, I mean,
From that to Harry telling Empire, all that shit, I was like, this is just some guy yelling about climate change, and all the idiots are like, no.
Very true.
Oh, yeah. But I wanted to quickly mention about Dawn's story, the whole cloning thing. One, I was genuinely surprised that they just said, oh, this is not going to be a plot point anymore. We're just going to kill all these people and nothing else happens with this anymore. Of the whole implanting. I thought that was very interesting. That, and then fucking shout out to Day doing the absolute most gangsta shit I've ever seen when he gets the girl in the murder garden and tells her, we have a gun pointed at every single person you have ever interacted with in your entire life. And he just turns his hand and he's like, there you go. No one will remember you
existed. You never existed.
That was absolute.
Oh my god!
Oh, it was nuts.
And then didn't they say they're gonna keep her alive just to like?
And he shrouds her. He puts the shroud on her face, and he's like, "This is how you'll be for the rest of your life, in silence and not being able to see anything. Just like what a terrible way to live."
I know. Oh my god, that was so dark.
Ugh.
And it shows you can do so much with good dialogue and like good writing.
Yeah.
Because that scene was like, you didn't do any crazy special effects or anything. You just did like chilling.
Just two people talking. Not even two people talking. One guy talking.
Yeah, just monologuing in a garden, in like a Japanese garden. And he just, man, that was so good. Yeah, that was very chilling.
Was my one positive about season 2's time jump. I was like, oh, at least I know that girl's probably dead.
Yeah, at least she's finally at peace.
She's at peace now.
I mean, shoot, if Polly's still alive, they found a way to keep her alive.
Oh, God, that's true.
Give her some energy drinks. Keep her going. Yeah, that was very dark.
Yeah, it was nuts. Shit, let's talk about Gale. We've mentioned her. She's
important.
Star of the show. She's kind of important.
Yeah.
I'm mostly focusing on season 2. This is, like you said, that's the weakest storyline for me, is the whole X-Men mutant
the Mentalic
of
thing.
People.
And they kind of pull the Mentalics out of nowhere. It's like, oh, okay, they just exist.
And that apparently is a book thing. Like those people do exist. Yeah. And I think that is one thing in the show where I'm like, I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, are they pulling too many sci-fi concepts into this show?
Yeah, or maybe that that's where they started, was in found like maybe Asimov was the first to start it, but it seems like that whole plot line was just very, you could kind of see it coming the whole way. Like, okay, this is definitely like a not good cult thing.
Right. Whenever there's a cult, it's usually not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was fine. We'll see how it goes. I wasn't super crazy about Gale now getting force powers.
Yeah, no, that was kind of weird.
But again, it's a lot of concepts they put in the show.
But I liked it in season 1 more, where she used her intellect.
I did too.
To like, she's stuck on that Foundation ship, and she used her intellect to figure out, where she was going and how to escape and all that kind of stuff. And I really like that part of Gale Dornick's character. And I think that she is kind of the most redeemable, the one you can really root for in the show. Yeah. Her and Salvor, really, you can root for them the whole time between both seasons. But Gale, and she's very justified when she's mad at Harry a lot of times, because he's never straight up with her. He never gives her the full story. She's always, and
his whole reasoning is that you can't know the plan. It's it's all this. Oh, you can't know too much or else it'll fuck up.
But she said it's incomplete, and she knows how it was incomplete. He needs her, he needs her to to help with it. And she's very justified when she's mad at him for like playing with her emotions and leading to the death of Raish. I thought that was really heartbreaking, the way that all went down.
That was surprising. Yeah. That was my biggest, not really a complaint, but like, oh, I kind of missed that. I liked it back. This is going back to her whole force powers thing. I liked when the show was just math.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh no, she just has special abilities. I was like,
yeah, it got away from that
a little bit.
Yeah, definitely got away from it a little bit.
I still like it, but yeah.
She still has a very important part to play, obviously, because the mule in the visions is like scared of her. So,
right.
She has an important part to play too, as of yet. But I mean, yeah, she does a fantastic job. It's also weird, like when Salvor jumped to the future, like, was she older than her mom? That was a weird. That was a weird thing.
She absolutely was. Yes.
Sci-fi, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about Salvor. R.I.P. You're gone.
Oh man.
Question forever, because I feel like no one ever actually dies in this show.
True. I mean, they burnt her though. They did a funeral pyre, which I
That's
feel like
true.
is, for Foundation standards seems pretty climactic. But
Yeah, I mean, her death was fine. A bit of a bummer because I was like, oh, yay, the show's wrapping up. And then it was just like, no, we just needed one last twist of the knife. And Homegirl got into the little boy. And
that was so effed. That was so messed up. But season 1 in Salvor was badass as hell, dude. She was so cool.
Yeah.
And like that whole, God, I really love the whole plot line of the Foundation crisis in season 1, especially with Salvor, because she, they're fighting the Anacreons, they're working with them, they're finding that old spaceship, and the whole time she's trying to figure out how to like get loose and break free. And man, she was so resourceful, so good.
And this was my biggest complaint about season 1 was I was not a huge fan of the Anacreon invasion of the Foundation in season 1, mostly because I thought Farrah's character was just annoying as fuck.
Just a zealot.
I was just like, oh my God, please shut up. And to the point where like, I was so happy when she was dead. I was like, good, bye, leave. Let. And then in season 2, it turns out when they went to go on the Invictus, it sent out a signal, and that's how Empire finds all of them on Terminus. I was like, great, Farrah, you fucked up again, even in death.
Yeah, it was annoying.
So that was probably the weakest storyline in terms for me the whole time, mostly just because in season 1, I just wanted to see more of Day and Empire and Demerzel's story, because I thought that shit was just fucking fascinating, especially when we talked about like Day's whole walk in the desert, his Jesus walk.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I was just, all that shit I thought was absolutely fascinating.
But see, I love the world building of Foundation. I think that's maybe one thing to mention is like, I just love a good ghost ship, especially in sci-fi, like a good ghost ship, like, Star Trek or something, they do it where like, they run onto this ship that's been like derelict for like 1,000 years. And that's what that ship was. And man, it's just so cool. Like when they go onto ships and stuff like that and, find this like husk of a floating thing, just like sitting there dark, like it's creepy. It's cool. Like, and then it
makes you wonder, but they're not going to tell you everything about it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then like they have to use the old technology to, before the spacers.
Right.
One final point on the Invictus was I thought it was so cool. And then it was just really underwhelming and terrible when they actually fought.
I was about to
anything.
say.
Like, I was kind of bummed by that because I thought the whole point of getting it was that they're going to build more and like start making more of them. And they just didn't. So they kind of, I don't know. They kind of like, I don't know if they retconned that a little bit, but it just was like.
I mean, I think the biggest thing was that ship can space jump on its own was the biggest thing. And I think they learned the technology through getting that, which is how like you have ships like Hober has and all they have.
That makes sense.
I think that was the biggest deal for them.
That makes sense.
Getting that ship personally. Obviously, other than the fact that it was supposedly like the biggest weapons ship that the Empire had ever developed,
Right.
I mean, we got our first and only like legit space battle in that season 2 episode. And I thought it was really good. I do.
It was too
I
quick.
kind of like the Empire ships. It was too quick. Yes. But I like the design of everything for the most part,
Yeah. I think they were trying to be a little different, which was cool. But I mean, fighters, it was just fighters versus the Invictus for about 30 seconds of actual like, actual time on screen. So I was hoping they would do more with it, especially because in the marketing, they really, really marketed that space fight of like, oh, the fight begins. And then it's like, and the fight ends as soon as it's there.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to this real quick when we, Hober Mallow. I mean, he's the Han Solo Star Lord of the show.
R.I.P.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. No, I really liked his character. The only thing that was a little inconsistent was that he was like a very much a rogue renegade kind of guy, and then he really got down with like Harry Seldon's plan for him, which was going to end with his death.
I don't know if Hober knew that though.
Yeah, but just for a character that was like so self-serving, or at least introduced that way, he kind of
he had a heart of gold,
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, I did love how they brought back the whole what was it? The bracelet switches people's bodies, and that's how they how a homeboy kills Day. I was like, that was dope.
That was cool.
That was very cool. I liked his character too, the captain
General
that
Rios.
they get out of prison.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was sad to see him go too, because I was like, oh man, I thought this guy was gonna join the rebels and do all this shit, and it's like, damn.
Yeah, R.I.P. to that guy. Also, he was cool, and like such a good character too, because he like hated Empire the whole time, but he like. But he knew the cost of like losing to Empire because he had tried to do it. So he was like a broken man, and he was telling like his partner the whole time was like, like, we can beat them, we can beat them. And it's like, nah, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't. And
Yeah.
also, like, he did have a one-off line of like, listen, Empire might be brutal, but like, I've been to places where Empire doesn't exist, and like, it's worse. Like, when you don't want warlords running your system,
Right.
and like, I mean, that's a fair point, and it's also historically why what empires can, if you can provide stability,
People will,
at the cost to some other people that you're conquering, but like for you, it's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
you can work whatever logic you got to do to make yourself feel good.
Yeah. Which just last quick shout outs before we move on. I like how the day of season 2 is just like, I like how he's so like different from the days of season 1, where his hair's all more loosey goosey.
Yeah.
He's having sex with Demerzel. He's getting married. He's
weird.
ending the cloning. He don't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, that's like your mom, dude.
It was weird. It was very much weird when she was like faking a voice, and he's like, "No, I like your robot voice instead."
Yeah, that was, man. Like, listen, man. I mean, the dude has mommy issues for sure. He's got daddy issues. He's got brother issues. He's got issues. He's got issues all around.
Oh yeah, it was quite hilarious. And then I do have to shout out Demerzel with the best diss right before Day dies, where she says, "You're a sperm led by its waving flagellum, mistaking its random motion for complexity."
That was wild.
And then just leaves.
Yeah, just dips.
Oh, that was fantastic. One last thing about season 2 is that Dawn gets a quote unquote happy ending. He escapes with her and the baby she's gonna have, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. What was her name? The leader of Cloud Dominion?
Sareth.
Okay, yeah. Sareth. Yeah, she was a pretty good, she did a pretty good job too. But yeah, I mean, I think that's now, like, just looking ahead to what's gonna happen next, like they are gonna go back, and I don't know.
I think that baby's gonna come back.
Yeah, for sure. But I think they were like a similar power level, like not maybe not as powerful as Empire, but it would help them. But like now the Empire has no fleet because it just got wiped. So it's like,
yep,
maybe that starts that, but I don't know. I also wonder how far they're gonna jump ahead.
That's what I'm saying. We could jump 100 years again. Who knows?
Would they though? Because they left a lot of things that were immediately relevant now.
They did the same thing in season 1, and then season 2 is like, nope, fuck that.
True.
I mean, it ends. Season 1 ends with Gale and Harry talking about how they're gonna be alive and awake for like a couple days, and then they're gonna sleep for 100 years and wake up again and see how everything's going on. So I don't know where we're gonna be.
Kind of wild to trust those people that much that quick, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, because a lot of them were just children.
Yeah, and like you just had somebody like mind control one of them to shoot you, so it's like seems like you could definitely die.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then Demerzel has the prime rating at the end. She's got the plan.
Yeah.
And I think Harry knows that. He gave it to her on purpose.
He did. Because he did say he brought them there just to talk to her.
Basically. Yeah. And so make sure she gets that.
Yeah, maybe he knew that she was pulling the strings the whole time.
Right. I don't know. A lot of interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's been confirmed that it's getting a season 3. I would hope it does.
I mean, why not? Why would it not?
I mean, yeah, I don't know what the viewership is for that show. I hope Apple keeps it around and people watch it, because I genuinely think it's a very fucking good show, and it's like a breath of fresh air. Which is funny because it's based off of very old books.
Yeah, it is ironic, but I also think that Foundation. I think I saw somewhere like he only made 3 or 4. Like he made a bunch of books, but the main story he didn't really wrap up. So or he kind of left it just open ended. So it seems like they can do whatever they want, but it seems like the next looming conflict is like with the mule. But
yeah,
did they also prevent that from happening with the stuff they did now? It's like, I don't know. It seems like that conflict is going to have to happen at some point. I just don't want to see it. Like I would like to have one more season of like some Empire stuff, because it would be bad if like Lee Pace is just gone next season.
And that's my thing. I'm like, I don't know what the show looks like if you get rid of Empire. I don't think they can. I
think even if the Empire crumbles, they could still have some Cleons around in some fashion, and like maybe they actually twist and be good, maybe they're good guys at that point or something. But like, yeah, I hope there's one more season of like building to the chaos with the mule, and not just jumping straight there. Yeah, I hope we'll see a little bit more development. So I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I hope they do develop the mule very well, because just based off the little flashbacks we've seen of the mule, I'm not quite convinced he's as scary as the show wants me to think.
Yeah. I mean, we know he's powerful, but
Right. And like the fact that he can see her looking at him from the future, from the
Yeah.
past, like they can, and so,
that was wild.
but also by the end of it, it looked like he was scared. He was
Yeah,
scared. He's like,
yeah.
I need to find Gail Dornick and kill her. And maybe it's a thing he's not working on his own.
Yeah,
Maybe there's someone else in cahoots with him.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean, and like depending on how much time they give him, because like I wonder if they'll go for like pure evil and just have him not really developed much at all. I mean, I think the show, given its track record, will develop him a little bit,
Right.
but you know, so you'll at least understand his logic. But I wonder how evil he'll be, you know, to be that villain. So I don't know. They can really do whatever they want next. It could be like a Empire versus Cloud Dominion thing next season. It could be, you know, 20 years ahead. I mean, I think what I'd maybe like to see is like with Sereth, with a day aged with that dawn, like jump ahead like 15, 20 years. And then kind of do something else there. But I don't know.
Because we know Demerzel's going to keep the clones coming for as long as she can. It's in her programming. So who knows?
Man, that's going to be weird. The way they left it off, there's a lot of compelling things that are yet to happen. So
yeah, I'm very excited. Last thing, shout out to Hober Mallow with that dope ass entrance when he and just fucking space jumps onto fucking Trantor and interrupts the execution of Constant. And I was like, cool. War is on. Let's go. Shout out to Becky for almost killing Day. R.I.P. Becky.
Poor Becky.
So close.
Man, Becky, they did my girl wrong.
What a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Devin, thank you for constantly telling us to watch it.
Yeah,
until we finally
I'm a fan.
did.
And I think the production value is very good. I think, you know, I don't know if we merely mentioned that, but like the world building I think is really good. Like some of the planets are like so, but like I you know, it's believable and it's like really just well done. Like I don't know, it's crazy that it's not getting any buzz like at all.
Yeah, honestly, and it's also one of those things that it's like I think this only worked because it's a TV show. I don't think you could pull this off as a movie with the amount of characters and names and planets that are introduced in the first episode.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we've seen that Dune can do it, you know, so maybe, but I don't know. But I'm glad that it got a season 2. I'm hoping it gets a season 3 and continues. They can tell that story they want to tell because it's solid. It's a really solid sci-fi show in a sea of a lot of shit that's kind of just like lackluster.
Yeah, agreed. I think, yeah, breath of fresh air, especially in the modern like space where, you know, like you say, a lot of the shows are just like, well, I'll get through it. But in Foundation, it was like, wow, I'm actually genuinely excited to watch the show.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'm sure we missed your favorite part, listeners. I'm sorry. Shout out to Dusk. Shout out to Raish. Y'all are great. Everyone's good in this show. Everyone's phenomenal in this show. There's a lot of characters to talk about. But yeah, that's it. You got anything last day, Devin? Are you all wrapped up?
Yeah, no. Just I look forward to season 3. I think it'll probably be, because of the writer's strike, it'll probably be 2 years before we see anything.
Probably. Oh, it made me just think of one question actually for you, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Are you, because I know you did this with Dune, are you going to read the books before the show?
Oh, Foundation?
ends?
No.
You're going to save it?
Well, I've read one of Asimov's like anthology. I think maybe I read iRobot, which
okay.
I read something else, but iRobot is not at all like the movie. If it's the one I read, it was like an anthology of like logic problems for his 3 laws or like stuff like that. Very hard to read, but to be fair, I was like middle school or high school when I did. But I've heard it's kind of hard to read, so I don't probably won't. I think my dad told me that it's tough, kind of tough reading, kind of like Tolkien, like very like good, but like.
But he spends too much time describing food.
Yes. Yeah. Asimov is a 3-page long song of a robot in another language. No, I think I'll just stick with the show and you know, maybe go to YouTube for what I missed in the book or the podcast, maybe the official podcast.
Yeah. Check that out. Listeners, check that out. They will go into more detail than we did just now because they do an episode per episode. So you got like 10 hours. 8 to 10 hours of that shit. So check that out. But it's yeah, just very cool being introduced to something that definitely influenced some of our favorite stuff. Like I know there were times where I was like, this is Horizon Zero Dawn. This is Destiny 2. There's some Mass Effect in this shit. Like it's very cool to see one of the most original sci-fi stories come to life. It's very cool.
Yeah. Asimov, the OG.
Very dope. Very dope. Can't believe he wrote this shit in the 60s. That's nuts.
I thought it was even earlier. Was it the 60s?
I think the early 60s was when I mean he was probably writing in the 50s, but I think it was first published in the early 60s, I think.
I thought it was like the 30s. thought it was even earlier.
Oh no, you're right.
Jeez.
1951 was the first foundation. So not quite 30s, but earlier than
51.
the 60s. So yeah, still nuts though.
That had to be so mind blowing at the time.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing like MCU or anything else. Well, I mean, there are comics, I guess, but nothing like
this.
Like before this, it was just 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Like
in the time machine, maybe.
Yeah, like man,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Crazy. Look where we're at. Well, thank you, Isaac Asimov, for bringing us this show in some way.
Yeah.
All right, Devin. That is Foundation. That is our main topic. Should we now move into our final segment of the week?
Yeah, let's get Brian back in here.
Hey, Brian. It is time for our final segment of the week, which we like to call Free for All. Title pending. This is a segment, listeners, where we can kind of do whatever we want. We can talk about our day, talk about life, rant, fight, nap. It is free for all. I'll quickly go first. I got some. I, guys, have finally, from my memory, I believe, have finally begun and finally finished my first ever anime. Because things obviously like Avatar and Korra are non-anime. So from what I can remember, and obviously Attack on Titan dropped the ball on that. So I finally finished the anime Food Wars, and
oh hell yeah,
I was so fucking happy. This show is just such a fucking delight. I love it so much. It's just such a good comfort food. It's just, especially when you're not feeling great, you're having like a bad day, or just not feeling overall all that well. Obviously, winter's coming. It's getting darker, and everything sucks, and the world sucks at this current point in time.
Oh Lord!
Also, when you're not feeling good, this show like it really like helped me out a lot and brought up my spirit. So last time I had only watched the first 2 seasons, and then it took me forever to find season 3 anywhere. So I eventually found it, and I just for like the next week I binged season 3, 4, and 5. I watched all of it, and it was so much fun. It was so good. This show is just good vibes in the sense that like I never really like the heroes are never really gonna lose, and it's just like it's the antithesis of Attack on Titan is the best way I can put it in the sense that it's just like it's just I could just watch one episode and be like, oh, that was just a nice 22 minutes well spent. It's just so good. Also, don't watch the show hungry, because everything looks delicious.
That food be
Everything
bussin'.
looks delicious. Yeah, and then like I have to shout out season 4, episode 11. The ending of that is probably one of the best things I've ever seen in a show, and it's just good. Such good shit. I did actually do some research afterwards, because I know a lot of people complain not only of the show's ending, but of the original, the manga's ending. People weren't huge fans of it. I can see their complaints. It didn't bother me as much, but I can see where people are coming from in terms of people were upset and how some certain storylines kind of ended. But for the most part, I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and this could be like one of the first shows where like I would actively go back and watch random episodes just for fun if I'm like in any kind of mood.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I love this show. It's a very special show to me now, and I really enjoyed it. Also, getting to finish it means I got like 6 more dope ass anime theme songs to listen to. I love anime. They just make the most ridiculous, amazing theme songs in the world.
That have nothing to do with the actual show whatsoever.
No.
But they fucking slap.
They just slap every time. I love it. It's so good. So Food Wars. Everyone just go watch it. It's not for children. Do not watch it around children.
Oh, it is
Only
not.
Feel good show that's not for children.
It is not,
It's
for,
not for
children.
children.
No. There's a lot of sexual context in that show.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a very People have orgasms because of food, basically. That's a seg.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a
dang.
yeah. It's yeah.
Would still recommend though. I haven't finished it, but I watched a decent bit, and I'm glad that I got Oscar watching it because it's a good show for sure.
Yeah,
I'll have
I
to check it out.
thoroughly enjoyed it. And then second thing I have to say, I noticed this the other week and I forgot. I give or take hours, because I don't know how PlayStation counts it, like whether pause menu or not. But according to my PlayStation, I have finally hit over 1,000 hours in Destiny 2.
Jesus Christ! And you don't even have any of the fucking DLC.
I
That's
haven't
the
paid
craziest
for that
part.
game at all.
There's like 12 other DLC you can buy that would probably add another at least 1,000 hours.
I haven't paid a single dollar to this game,
That's
and I have over
crazy.
1,000 hours. I feel so terrible.
That's so wild.
At this point, it's worth it to get the DLC.
Just pay the
I mean,
money,
at this
bro.
point-
You obviously love the game.
I might get the last DLC that finishes the story arc just because I feel bad. Unless I
man.
hear it's genuinely terrible, in which case I'm not buying that
I mean,
shit.
that's fair. I heard the last one before that was not very good, so
Yeah, so
you dodged a bullet there.
it could go either way. I don't know, but I just thought that was really funny. I had to bring that up.
Oh my god!
And then
man.
lastly, because me and Brian talked about Castlevania last week, and we did kind of shit all over the guy that plays the dude who sings this in the show. I do have to shout out because there was a song that I listened to that was like a bonus track on the album that is actually fucking slapped for no fucking reason, and it's not even in the show. And it's like, why did y'all go so hard with this song? It's called "I'm Free." I didn't know this, but the guy that played the character Ed is named Sidney James Harcourt. He was in Hamilton. He was in the original cast of Hamilton.
Shit.
I was like, this motherfucker can sing.
That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, he can. It's just, it felt out of place in a lot of places. I will say, we didn't get to talk about it in the actual episode of that podcast. But I do like the song that Eduardo sings during the jail scene. I won't go into any other details about it, but I think that song fucking slapped in the way that it's hit
good.
And the stuff that was happening. I thought that was a really good song. Other than that, fuck him. He's annoying as shit. Anyway.
Yeah, just had to shout that out. Dope song. Go check it out, listeners.
Nice.
Had to finish that up. Oh, and shout out to God of War Ragnarok. Also, actually I have a grievance I have to throw out there. A grievance I have. Because right now, on the floor next to me, I'm fucking staring at Spider-Man 2 right now.
Oh, shit.
I am dying to fucking play this game. Ooh. And the only reason I haven't played it is because I did an experiment in the sense that, you know how you can pre-order games on websites, guys? Mm-hmm. We know this. We know these. I pre-ordered Spider-Man 2 like 15 minutes before midnight to get the pre-order bonus. Because I was like, all right, I'm going to get it. Might as well just get the pre-order. Who cares? And then there's an option. I couldn't pick it up in store, which is always a bad thing. And I'm like, that sucks. But there was an option to have it delivered, and it said it would get here Friday.
Don't do that.
That bitch got here today. It is not Friday, and I'm pissed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew that was gonna fucking happen, and I was like, I'm mad because I went on Best Buy's website the Friday when I thought it was gonna get here, and I was like, I could go buy it right now and be playing that game in 15 minutes. And instead, it did not.
Amazon does that a lot. They always like promise you that they'll like send the game out day one, and I feel like they never do. It's always been an issue with them. So
lesson learned, listeners, don't believe it. It's not coming for 2 days.
Just go pick it up. Go
pick it up. But yeah, so that'll be probably my free for all next week. I'm very excited to start Spider-Man.
Hell yeah,
man! I'm jealous. Looks like so much fun. Just like moving around looks fun.
I'm excited. Here it's good.
Spider-Man would be fun. You can go ahead, Brad.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go. So it is a spooky month, as we know. It is October.
Ooh.
Or not. I don't know. The time isn't real. This is all a fallacy. Who cares? But yeah, it is October. So I decided to start trying to watch some more spookier movies. Normally on my Thursday night movie watches, I watch movies I've never seen before. But I was hanging out with someone else that hadn't seen a movie that is near and dear to my heart, and that is Saw.
Oh,
first one.
That's
I don't know what you were fucking thinking of. What the fuck? So we watched the very first Saw that came out in 2004, 2005.
Yeah,
it's an old ass movie, which has a dude from the Princess Diaries in it. I didn't actually realize that until recently. And first of all, that man cannot get down an accent throughout the entire movie. He was struggling so hard to try to sound American because he went from New Jersey to very posh English to trying to do some weird Western thing at some point, and it's all in the same movie. Where it's like, oh damn, you were just trying them out. You were trying out the voices.
That's funny.
That is one of my favorite horror movies because it is a well written movie. The whole context and what's the reason behind what's happening is super cool.
Straight downhill after that one.
Yes, yes. We watched Saw 2 right after that, and that movie fucking sucks. No. That is a terrible movie. It's got Mark Wahlberg's brother in it. And you can tell they wanted Mark Wahlberg because it's really funny. But yeah, Saw 1 is honestly a masterpiece when it comes to horror films because of the way that it breaks down the subversion of expectations of you don't really know what's going on or why it's going on. And then when it's finally revealed to you, it really makes you go, what the fuck? I like Saw personally so much because it always gives you an ADHD recap on what the fuck happened and why it happened every single movie. So if you ever get lost, a lot of movies, a lot of horror movies, they expect you to oh, I understand what happened here back then because that's gonna tie back into later. Saw says, fuck that. We know you're dumb as fuck. We're going to go ahead and we're going to run you back a quick montage of when this happened. And we're going to show that motherfucker right there and be like, that's important. It's yes, thank you. I needed this because I'm dumb. I can't do it. And I think that's one of the best parts about that movie because every single time they do the same thing.
I mean, it also, they need it because there's 12 of those movies now.
Yes, there's 12 of those movies. And sometimes they will reference older movies. And it's Saw 10 just came out and Saw 9 came out 6 years ago. So no, and
also some of them take place in the past, and some of them don't. It's very confusing.
It's very convoluted. I heard Saw 10's good. I haven't seen it yet. But I would
that's
recommend
good.
Saw 1 to a lot of people. Because
Solid movie.
Yeah, it's a very solid movie. It's on Hulu, I think. Maybe Max. I don't know. It's on a streaming service. Who fucking cares? None of this shit matters anymore.
The first time I saw that movie was in my cousin's basement, and when it ended, and my cousin did the asshole thing where he quickly turned off all the lights and ran upstairs and left me in the basement.
Oh man.
And I was like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's iconic. The guy in the basement just yelling, just no, I'll get you, you
terrifying.
bastard. And he's saying it in a weird accent
Terrifying.
because he's fucking not American.
He's Australian, yeah.
I will say that Saw 3D is still the best Saw. I said what I said. I don't care. I said what I said.
Very nice.
Hit at the right time too.
For sure.
I mean, maybe I'll watch a plot recap on YouTube or something because I just don't think I have the stomach for watching a full Saw movie through.
I mean, that is
That's
fair. It is very much a
They're pretty
slasher
gross.
in every way, shape, and form.
Just like the fact you got to decide about yourself.
That's the thing that's always funny to me because they like to do a lot of things with like people that are like, oh, you don't value your life, so we're gonna do this and this and this. And then like they had one girl that had like depression, had like a drug abuse issue, and it's like, ha, that's funny. You think I'm gonna do this? Little do you know, I want to kill myself, so I'm just gonna fucking die.
No.
Enjoy, idiot.
No.
You did me a service. Oh, you have 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Fuck it, I got 3. I'm dying. I don't give a fuck.
Jesus.
Just gonna close my eyes here and just be done.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Ugh.
That's funny.
Very nice.
Yeah, I do like Spooktober. It's time. I don't know what we're gonna do. I think the one that really gets the stuff that gets me is gonna be The Nun. So maybe we'll watch The Nun 2.
I heard that's pretty good.
That shit scares me so much. But anyway, all right. Well, my free for all for you two is I had a lot of flying recently, so I was on a plane and they had like a lot of movies. So I caught up on a few. One of which was John Wick. Now,
hell yeah,
John Wick 4?
John
Wick 4? Oh yeah.
So I watched like half of it on the way there and then half of it on the way back. But I did it all without sound because
Devin.
I just didn't do like the little headphone thing. I just don't like it. I just have my noise canceling on it. So I did subtitles. And listen, that movie needed sound because the fight scenes were so long and so goofy without sound. Like the movie needs sound. Like when they're fighting around the Arc de Triomphe with no sound, and it's just like subtitles. It is the goofiest thing in the world because like their cars just like driving by still, where there's like a mob of people fighting with guns, having a gunfight, and there's just people driving around like, oh, let me just drive around. But the thing that made me laugh out loud on the plane, you both have seen this movie, right?
I have not, but I don't care enough. So
okay,
I've seen
the last part. He has to meet at this church. Spoiler alert: he has to like meet at this church to like do this duel thing. So he has to go up these stairs. It's like this famous church in France, I guess. So he has to go up like all these flights of stairs. He fights his way up there for about 20 minutes. He's like fighting his way up, like flight by flight. And I think one of the main bad guys, like he gets all the way to the top and somebody kicks him down and he comically rolls down the stairs. Like he rolls all the way down to the bottom of the fucking stairs. Like at a certain point I was like, did they just like switch this to like a satire? Because like it was so comically long. And like you can tell the stunt guy was like his body was like naturally stopping his momentum and he would just have to keep rolling. So he'd like kind of get up on his knees again and roll more. Oh my God, that was so funny. And then he's just like staring at the hill. Yeah. Like he like, it took him like a half hour of pure.
It's the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, he had to kill so many people just to get to the top of the hill. And then he had to do it again.
So,
this
slightly reminds me, it's a little off topic, but it reminds me of when I bought, the first time I saw iRobot was from a random dude at a gas station gave me a burned DVD of it when it was still in theaters. And I hated that movie because of how shitty the quality. No, so because of how shitty the quality was and how awfully this was filmed on this fucking stupid ass DVD from this man that obviously sold the film. Obviously just fucking filmed it in the movie theater. I was like, I hate this movie. This movie fucking sucks. And then I actually watched it in a real theater and I was like, movie's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
This movie's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So I'm sure with sound it probably would have been much better.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it probably slaps a lot differently.
Yeah.
But also that's hilarious because you basically watch what they want to do with Kill Bill.
Right.
John
Oh
Wick
yeah,
4.
right.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of action.
Devin, that is a 3-hour silent film.
That's crazy, dude.
That wasn't the only one. I watched more movies than that with the sound off. Transformers: Rise of the Beast
Oh my God.
looked like it was actually a pretty good movie for the Transformers
Still haven't seen
standard.
I heard it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
pretty good.
I wanted to see it. I just never did.
They did it. I think they did a good job. Again, no sound, but look visually pretty
so
fun.
funny.
Good airplane movie was Transformers.
So what was the reason for not having any headphones?
Because they give you like the little one that like plugs in, and like I didn't have any other way to plug in. I was like, I don't really want to listen.
I was about to say you didn't have your own pair of
No,
headphones.
I did, but I use those to like noise cancel on the plane. So I was just like, I'll just read subtitles. So
I can't stand you. You this is your own decision. This is your own volition that you did this.
This is your fault.
Yeah.
That's really funny. That's hilarious.
So John Wick 4, watch it with sound, but also, I mean,
watch it with
listen,
sound.
man, the way he was falling down those stairs, I laughed. I literally laughed out loud. Like it's just like,
oh, it's funny. It's hilarious.
That was comical.
It's
it really
ridiculous.
was.
There's some good bits in that movie. It's ridiculous. Alrighty, very nice, guys. That is Free For All, which means that is the show, listeners. You can email us at thefortress@gmail.com, Fortress spelled F-O-U-R. Feel free to email us any questions, feedback, recommendations, or anything like that you have. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channel at the Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Follow the 3 R's like a Bollywood movie. Rate, review, and recommend us to anyone and everyone you know. Thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art. Alex for the music. And Devin, thank you for being here, even when you're not here. You can find Brian on Instagram, IITZ_. By the way, Alex at Peterson Films. And Devin, you can find him at a movie theater with headphones on so he can't hear what you're saying.
Hopefully watch Blue Beetle.
Yeah, hopefully you'll watch Blue Beetle. Next week, we're talking about it. Maybe we'll talk about the creator. We'll keep the sci-fi train rolling. Maybe that, maybe something else. Who knows? Either way, we will be here for you. As usual, happy holidays. And put a coat on his coat out there.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah.
I was kind of pissed off.
It's beautiful weather right now.
Beautiful. Fuck it. I hate white people.
Anyway,
Anyway,
we're ending this podcast. Thanks, Devin. All right, everyone. We'll see you here next week in another episode on the Fortress of.
Yeah, no, this is white weather, but it is
This is white
for
weather.
that reason I am a fan of it.
That's funny.